I have a couple of thoughts to share with you. We need to decarbonize our economy and society, but we don't need to de-industrialize our society. And for countries that are still industrializing, we need to speed up the industrialization without falling into the trap of doing that through more carbon emissions. So this is basically the challenge we face, and the only way we can do that is to speed up the introduction of new technologies, is to make sure we make this energy transition happen very fast. Many of the technologies are already there, some are mature, some are not mature yet. This will warrant huge amounts of investment, and never will public authorities have enough investment money to make that happen. So what we need to do at a timescale that is unprecedented in human history, we need to unleash trillions of investments from all forms, from all spaces, to make sure that we have an opportunity to make this transition happen at the time and at the scale that we need to do it, to stay within the limits we've set ourselves for emissions. The European Union will be able to decarbonize its economy. We will reach climate neutrality in 2050. We have had some encouraging signals, even in this horrible situation of Putin's barbaric war against Ukraine, where we had to scramble to plug the holes of where the energy was missing. We have still been able to increase our targets for energy consumption reduction. We've been able to speed up the introduction of renewables, the transition to renewables, which leads us to the conclusion that already now, on the basis of what we've done in legislation, we still have some legislation to go, we can say that our target to reduce our emissions by at least 55% by 2030 has now moved to at least 57% by 2030. Well, some were saying, well, that's only 2% point. Yeah, but it's substantial. It's 40 megatons of emissions, which is half of the emissions of my own country, the Netherlands, for a year. So, and we will be moving even forward on that in the next months. Now, how do we... so what is, in my view, the sticky point here? Will the technologies be developed? Well, I am amazed. Years ago, I was very, very reluctant to accept the premise that technology will help, because, frankly, it was often sort of a fig leaf the oil industry used by saying, we don't need to decarbonize, there will be technology, we'll suck all that CO2 out of the air through technologies, etc. So that made me very reluctant to accept the argument. But now that I've been doing this, what I'm doing now, for 3 years, I've completely mesmerized with human imagination and ingenuity. The things we can do if we put our minds to it are really incredible. And I see these developments in technologies happening so fast. The problem is to bring that up to scale at the speed we need investments as we've never seen before. Now, we're doing our best. I think IRA is the Inflation Reduction Act is extremely good news. I really, really want to commend President Biden and the US administration for getting that done. There are some issues we will need to discuss and to make sure that we don't enter into a trade conflict over that, and I think that can be solved. But the more important thing is this will unleash so much investment that the transition will happen faster than before. Now, how do we then apply the same logic to countries that do not have to re-industrialize, as we do, US and EU, but are still industrializing? I think we need to speed up the transition of technologies. I think we need to speed up the transformation of the international financial world, IMF, World Bank, but also the MDB, so that they can have this leverage effect on investment that we've seen also elsewhere. I think we need to share the technologies much faster than we're doing right now. We need to create economic and industrial value chains across continents, and for Europe that especially applies to our relationship with Africa. And I'm really keen to hear from you, James, what Namibia is doing, because we've seen Namibia moving at lightning speed on hydrogen and green ammonia. I know several European countries who are really keen to work with you on this. And I would love to hear from you what this means for the transformation of your society and how you see this going forward. Because, and I'll end on this, because the last thing I want is for our needs in renewable energy to take away the production capacity in Africa of renewable energy. I want us to be sure that when we collaborate with Africa on this, when we take hydrogen from Africa, which we need to do because we will never be able to produce enough hydrogen ourselves, we do this on the basis of renewable energy that is produced in excess of what Africa needs itself, and not be in competition with Africa's own needs. That would be the worst possible situation. And I would love to hear from James how he thinks we can achieve that, because I hope we're on the same page as far as that's concerned. And I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Executive Vice President Timmermans.